Why?
No, it just,
They got a good football team.
I signed up for this, and so they put all these jobs for coaches and teachers and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So what's one of their?
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the regular board meeting for, I guess it's April 9th, to order. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Lillmeyer.
Aye.
Linton.
Aye.
Tice.
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
Fagan.
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Carson.
Aye. All right, any delegation? Correspondence?
No.
Anyone have any questions about the treasurer's report or the payment of bills? The new system seemed to be working pretty good still.
Yeah, we're still catching up. You can see I shared those percentages for you. The general fund, we finally got our budget lined out to make sure it was correct, and especially with our audit that the state did, so we can get those. So we're looking at 57% in each fund remaining, so we're setting good to go into spring orders, and we're already started processing some of those. So we're in good shape, and I'll talk to you a little bit about budget projections in my report. But yeah, so we're getting to where we can do some reports and figure out some that would be useful for the board to see things. So.
All right, everyone good with that? No questions? All right, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the minutes of the regular board meeting from March 13th, 2025. Make a motion to approve the treasurer's report of March 31st, 2025. Approve the petty cash reimbursement for the elementary school in the amount of $38.84, for the high school of $115.68, and that the bills be allowed in the total amount of $396,417.93 for April 9th, 2025, and the March 2025 payroll in the amount of $549,258.19.
I'll second.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Fagan.
Aye.
Linton.
Aye.
Carson.
Aye.
Lillmeyer.
Aye.
Tice.
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
All right, moving on to new business, 2025-2026 academic calendar.
So we visited about this last month. Nothing's changed. Amy put it to the teachers for their approval or vote for that. And as you can see, 66% of the staff voted on Calendar B. Calendar B adds more collaboration days in there on the first Wednesdays of the month for most of the months, not all of them, but most of them. With our move to PLCs, we felt that it was important to add those. So nothing's been changed or updated since then. Same number of days for student contact days and teacher contract days, and it's just the additional early release or collaboration days on calendar B.
Those collaboration days releases at 12:30, so
Yes.
students still get lunch.
Yep, still feed them and then release them, just like we've been doing. Nothing changed on the time. It's just that consistency of first Wednesday of the month. So we'll try that and see how that goes, where that goes from there. But we're looking forward to that time for collaboration because that's the feedback we get. Teachers want more of that time, so.
Did that add any time to the calendar at all, like as far as
No,
release date and all that stuff?
Oh, no.
Still the third week?
Yeah, still that same. And student contact hours went down a little bit. I think it's around a 6, just over 6 days, snow days, where we were at 7 before
Okay.
with the prior one. So we have those 6 snow days built in for that. So it did take a little bit of that in there, so.
Would it be easier to change one of those collaboration days into a full day
If we need to,
if we go
or
over that
those
snow?
other days we have out, that we could choose to make it a student contact day if we needed to go down that road. So,
Okay.
but yeah,
Mr. Hassan, did
Yes.
you get those dates changed for Easter and?
yes, I did get those updated, so I just forgot to move that one up is what Tim pointed it out to me, so. Yes, thank you though.
Okay. Any other questions regarding the calendars? Any concerns? All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve calendar B for the 2025-2026 school year.
Second.
Parson,
Aye.
Parsons,
Aye.
Lowmeyer,
Aye.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Tice.
Aye.
Fagan.
Aye. All right, item number 2, JBCC non-resident policy capacity.
So annually, the boards have to approve the enrollment projections. We have to post those, what capacity is, and the number of slots that would be available based on that capacity. We talked about this last month, presented the grade level numbers. We have to do it by grade level to present what the projections are and what the capacity would be based on that projection. Nothing's changed since last month. Nothing to be updated on that. Just want to clarify that we got to post this by May 1st on the district website. This form will be just like it is now that you're seeing. It'll be available as well as the application will be available on that on the website. Families, non-resident families can apply between January 1st and it says June 15th. We're gonna, just because of some communication things, we've already put it out there as June 30th for some things. So that's not a big deal to extend that because we don't have to notify or do the approval till July. So we're gonna accept until June 30th. It's just kind of a technical thing, but not a big deal. So, but on July 7th, we'll do that confidential lottery process if needed, depending on the number of applications turned in for the grade levels. And then we have to provide notification of acceptance or denial by the end of the month of July 30th. So.
And just to clarify, this is just grades K through 12, right?
Right, K through 12, preschool is, my understanding, some districts are even applying it to that, but we're not gonna do that because of our ratio, our student ratio. We want to keep that about, 1-to-1, 50-50. That gives us some flexibility with some non-resident students to fill those spots if we have space to do that, and depending on that. So, but again, once they become our students, as a non-resident student, we have to keep them for at least the academic year. And then unless they do something egregious, then we can remove them. But if they don't meet our standard of attendance, grades, discipline, we can tell them they're no longer allowed to attend here after 1 year. So, but it'll really just be based on space for the preschool for non-resident students.
All right, anyone have any questions on that?
Remind me again, sorry, if there is like openings available in one grade, but they have a sibling in a grade that doesn't have it,
Right.
we only need to take the one that has openings, we have to take them
Take both. If there's no capacity in like whatever grade that is,
Then
then
we
we'd have
just
to
go
take them
over
because they're connected to that, yes.
Any other questions? All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve the non-resident policy capacity for the 2025-2026 school year.
Second.
Fagan,
Aye.
Tice,
Aye.
Carson,
Aye.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Linton,
Aye.
Lohmeyer,
Aye.
Parsons.
All right, Keith's update.
So just, we've been talking about this, just want to keep you in the loop of what's going on. We've had our action plan approved, so we're starting putting things in place, mainly, going into the end of this year and next year. Our two areas of focus are structured literacy and quality instruction. With the structured literacy, we have mainly the letters training going on, because we've already identified that. A majority of our staff is doing that. We are going to provide letters training for those that haven't signed up through Tabitha Renfro is getting her certification to be able to do that. So I think we have 4 or 5 signed up in that group, Dina? 4 within the district. So, and they'll just kind of follow our PD schedule like we've been doing with the current group. But she'll be working directly with them to help them get that seal of approval or seal of literacy for their license renewal. Because they weren't in that cohort that we've already created. So she'll start that. Not anticipate, depending on space and things, we might open it to other districts, but as long as we have, I think she can have, 15 or so, is that what?
She can have 10.
10. So if there's some room, we might take some from the other districts just to help them out and go from there. But we'll focus on our staff to do that. So that's structured literacy, mainly with just the completion of that. Letters training and then the future of that. And then where we go from there is how we'll play that out, but we hope to do that through our PLC process. So quality instruction is the other part of that. In our action plan, we identified PLC training, professional learning communities training, as really getting that going at the end of this school year and into next school year. So we partner with Solution Tree, who kind of PLC's their baby. We will have a consultant that will work with our district directly. We'll have our first meeting with our consultant on May 12th. That's Monday of this school year. And he'll meet with our district leadership team, representatives from each building, the admin team, and he'll just kind of get to know us, but also kind of lay that groundwork of moving into next year of what PLC can look like and through our collaboration days. So we have May 12th for him scheduled, and then he'll come on the first day back of August 12th. There'll be a full day of PD with him, working with everybody, and as we kind of lay that out, big meeting with our district leadership team and doing that. We started the collaboration timeline, really identifying, our days, professional development days, our early collaboration days, and depending on working with our consultant, what those days and conversations will look like. I kind of see it as this first year of really kind of just, here's what a true PLC looks like within our each collaboration time. And what that, through some training that we'll have to do for the groups, but that's how I see it now, but maybe working with the consultant, it might be different, I don't know, but we'll be looking at that time with our collaboration time to meet our action plan that we have established. So looking forward to that. I met Joe last week, our consultant, Joe Kudemi is his name. He's been a building administrator for 15 years, had a PLC at work school district. Now he's been consulting for Solution Tree for PLC for 10 years. So he goes out and works with districts to kind of help them get them going and support the school district in that. So, but that's kind of where we're at with related to our action plan. Within KISA, we'll have to go through this process again next year to meet with our liaison from KSDE and then have another school improvement day where we go kind of talk about where we're at and go through that again. The only thing that we're measured on for the next 2 years is our action plan and compliance for accreditation. So but in that third year, the other factors like state assessment information and data and graduation rates and all that will start being part of that accreditation process. But for this upcoming year, for this year and the next year, it's really based on your action plan and compliance that we have to follow. So I don't know of any compliance issues that we have right now. So anything to add about KISA action plan? PLC?
Is that one of the groups we have a board representative on?
Not,
okay.
That's the, no, I mean, you could in community type settings, it could do, we definitely could do that, yeah, but not within this.
Perfect.
I think there might have been, not you say that, with the district leadership team, but this would just be for within the school. component, so. So looking forward to it. I think we've got a good start. You know, we have such a great staff. I think they'll really, once they see the picture being painted for them from not just me, but somebody else, that they'll really kind of start tuning in and start having different conversations within their collaboration time compared to what they've had in the past. So looking forward to it.
Good deal. Any questions about KISA?
Nope.
Okay. Emergency operations plan.
All right, just not to get in details, but just to know that we are, you know, with our offsite location, working on that. SRO Dina has spoken to a possibility. They're looking into insurance and things of that nature, so hopefully we'll have some quick answer from them as an alternate offsite location. But right now, we're good to go with what our plan is right now currently. I've met with the plant manager and he's really swamped right now. So he's like, you're good right now, but I can't talk about the future right now because I don't know what that is. Yep. And so I met with him on Monday and visited with him. So, but we are on top of it and looking at an alternate location if needed. So we're working through that, and they're checking with their insurance people to make sure it's okay. That's something they could do. So, but just wanted to talk about that. Also, state legislation has put in place that all districts have to have a cardiac response policy in place. So they gave us a template. Lisa's been on top of this before we even did this. She works with our people and our first responders that we call them within the district, that mostly coaches and things. If there was a cardiac event, to come and help with that, but we just have to have a formalized policy now. That will become part of the emergency operations plan, so you will take action on it annually within the emergency operations plan because you do that already annually. So we just need to fine tune some things, set up some trainings and things that we'll work through. And with that, speaking of trainings, the Safe and Secure grant will change compared to what it's been before. Before there was a lot, like 9 different areas where you could do, you know, money towards Safe and Secure. Where Intercom's one of those that we did, you know, for at the beginning of this year to help with that. But and for next year, you can only use it in 2 areas, which is first aid and CPR training. Whether you have somebody come in and do that, or, you know, for your kids or your staff or whatever, or you can purchase AEDs. We're good on AEDs. We could use maybe one more, maybe just kind of a floater in some situations, but that's all that money will be available for public schools for next school year. So we'll be working through that. But just kind of want to give you an update of where we're at with that operations plan, emergency operations plan, and with the cardiac response policy coming up. So that will just become part of that. So, but we are on top of it as best we can be with the situation that it is.
Is all teachers trained on the AED?
I don't know that they're all trained. I know they've been given information about it through email and things of that nature, but I don't know about, and that's part of what that cardiac response is. It's mainly just the identified first responders need to have that, but it could be something we can build into with the AED part of that. But I know Lisa will be happy to work with anybody and go through those motions. But
how many of those units do we have?
we have 5.
Do we have that many?
Yeah, 4.
At least 5.
We keep one out the track, and then there's a floater that goes to golf, and so she's covered a lot of bases. But maybe one more. Would be
What does those units cost, do we know?
300. What were you gonna say?
I thought they were more than that.
Oh, I can't remember.
I thought they were more than that.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Do you think they were like 1,300?
I thought they were about 1,000.
Okay, I thought they were 1,300, but when you said 300, I was like, whoa, I'm way off.
No, I don't.
A couple of them.
I'm just gonna say.
I mean, if that's something that we could use, I mean, there's no question.
Yeah, that's what, and so, and this is not finalized. The Safe and Secure is still, the governor's got to do her thing and everything, but that's what right now the focus is. So, so like I said, we could look at one more AED to really just kind of settle us in to utilize that grant, plus with the training that we could do, because there's money for training and there's money for AEDs, is how it's broken down. So,
Okay.
but yeah, definitely we can look into once that gets finalized
All right.
from the state legislature. So.
And is everything with our intercom system like still good to go?
It's good to go
Okay.
for install this summer. So, yeah, so we're just waiting for school to get out. I don't know what the timeline is, but we are on the schedule.
Good.
So to get that updated, so, which is much needed, so.
And when you say the offsite location, that it's good right now, but he can't talk about the future,
Yeah.
how long is right now? When does it turn over?
90 days, so from whenever the announcement was made, so
Okay.
it's going a lot quicker. The moving of the machines. So he's really not sure what that looks like, but we're gonna visit again about it to kind of keep that on.
Hopefully through the school year.
Yeah, to the end of the school year would be good,
I was
yeah,
just
for
thinking
sure.
like we'll have summer school kids and stuff.
Yeah. So that's the update on the emergency operations plan.
Okay, any other questions? Nope. Three Lakes report.
So we don't have meetings next Monday, so there's not a meeting update. Just want to give you an update on some things that are going on within the co-op. They did approve the Lakeside location, which will be housed at Scranton at the Santa Fe Trail District Office. And what's going to be housed there is going to be autistic kids with high needs for more structure in that. So I think we have 2 or 3 going there from our district next year.
Possibly if things get done in their building, yes.
Yeah, so there's some updates that have to do that. So but we will have to transport those kids, and that's where they get their education to do that. So, but Scranton's got to do some capital improvements and things of that nature to get that ready for them. So hopefully it'll be ready to go for next school year. So that's one component that's been going on. Another program that we're trying to start with, that specialized program focusing on autistic kids, high need autistic kids. The other part of that will be autistic kids, but they're not really behavior problems, and what that looks like programming. It looks like it'll be more of a functional classroom within the districts right now, but what could that look like depending on how things go down in the future? So those are the 2 components for autistic programming. So the other one just want to talk about is a high school special education position that's open with Mitch leaving. We've analyzed the caseload numbers. 3 Lakes has recommended that we don't replace that position based on caseloads. So with our caseloads for next year at the middle school will be 15 students, 6 through 8, and there'll be 24 total high school students next year. And so what we're operating on is kind of a 20-to-1 ratio for sped to teacher ratio is kind of what I've always operated, and that's what 3 Lakes is operating. You get any more than that, then you're looking at that second teacher. So what the vision or what we're doing is that we'll have 1 sped teacher for middle school to accommodate those 15 on that caseload, and then we'll have 2 at the high school. One of those teachers will be in charge or running what we're calling the functional classroom, and these will be for students that who are academically more challenged, not necessarily behavior challenged, and so they'll be getting their credits through life and career skills. They'll be getting their English and math credits as they go through this program for their high school career. Within that life and career skills, life could be everyday cleaning things that you do, learn to cook, laundry, budget management, just trying to build some independent skills for them for life after high school or whenever their time, if they go to the 18 and 21 program, that's really what they do too, is building independent skills. So we'll be starting that out and working with this, and there's 6 kids in that, 7? So be high school kids in that. But they also do the career skills where they can learn some trade skills. We could go to some job sites and do some work. And we've done that in the past in my previous districts where they might go to the grocery store and do stocking or, organizing shelves, just whatever, can work through. So building some of those career skills in there too, again, with the idea of working towards independency for these students and in a different environment than just sitting in a classroom with, that general population when they might not be. We could probably utilize that better for them to build that independency. So this other teacher will be running that functional classroom within one of the classrooms that we have down there. And we're going to have to do some updating. We'll probably tear out the carpet, put some tile down there, look at some appliances that we could maybe work in there just to help that to give them that experience. So the other remaining students of the high school that are not participating in the functional program will be on the other teacher's caseload and be housed. We think down there, we're still working through that. So, but these functional classroom kids, they'll spend a half day basically within the functional classroom, and the other half a day will be with the general ed. They'll get their electives, might take PE, band, some other tech, related that they can, something they have some interest in. So it's not all day in the functional classroom. They'd be with the general ed half the day is the plan for them. So, so that's where we're at. If we get a bunch of kids in, we'll have to, our caseloads jump up, then we'll have to have that conversation about adding that. But right now we'll have 3 full-time sped teachers for 6 through 12 next school year.
How many pairs does that, I mean,
Just depending on the caseload, with the functional program, I think they're planning on 3 or 4, which I don't know that they'll need that many, but it's just something we'll have to work through. And if we have to adjust and move them to where the needs is, we'll have to do that. So it's really depending on the minutes, and that hasn't been figured out based on who's going to be in that functional classroom compared to who's not, and what para support is going to be needed. So, but there would need to be some general resource or para support in the general classroom. And so, but I don't know how much. It really depends on their IEP and how that's written, so.
how are we setting on overall paras for all the buildings? Are we covered 100% or
I'm covered.
I'm covered.
good?
The elementary's covered.
We don't know what changes we'll do this summer, but but right now,
Well, that's true.
yeah, so, but,
As of now, we've got no openings in Osage, so
yeah.
it says we're covered head to toe.
So we'll be keeping an eye on those caseloads and, depending on enrollment and things of that nature, but that's where we're at as of right now, so.
And that functional classroom and the general ed classroom in high school, those will both be here in the district.
Yes, so right now I've been told that the kids from other districts will not be attending. I don't know if that's, because the idea to me, in my vision of this, is that we have a location where all districts could take advantage of this, where, half the districts in the co-op do the morning session and the other half do, depending on what and they do it. And so they spend half their day learning these life and career skills and then come back to the general population or general education, I should say it that way. But that's the vision. So I don't know if it'll evolve into that where other kids from the district, but we're being told no as of right now, so.
And we currently have all 3 of those spots filled.
Yes, yeah, as of today, yes. Yeah,
This moment.
as of today. So, but again, they have their meeting Monday, but we just wanted to give you an update on kind of where we're at with that conversation.
Are they basically letting the foundation go, not talking about it with that? We talked about it before and it kind of dropped.
Hasn't come up since.
No, I don't know. I mean, I think it's still on the table to look at, depending on what happens at Santa Fe Trail, if they make some major changes and that Scranton district office becomes available, then that might be talking of moving Three Lakes headquarters there, but that's down the road. So, but as of right now, the building there is going to stay where they're at. So.
All right, any other questions? No? Building reports. Questions on that? School year's almost over.
You guys got the hours? You gotta tick down every hour toward the end or what?
I'm too busy to do that right now. I'm like April in the high school.
There's a few
is
people that give me
crazy
the
busy.
number of days left, so yeah. But it
I've heard
is.
it go from months to weeks, now we're down to days.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Next will be hours and then it'll be seconds.
Yeah, right, yeah. That's funny.
School year's gone by quick,
Yeah.
for sure.
A lot going on, just with the spring, just as always, but a lot of people stepping up and helping out with transportation and supervision and just making it happen for kids. So it's been just a lot of good things going on with as much as we got going on. So.
Busy.
A lot of state assessments going on.
State assessments, Mr. Reaman, and you got 8th grade left?
Got 6th grade next week, so.
Oh, 6th grade next week.
I know the elementary's doing theirs now too.
Yeah,
Rowdy's all excited about it.
I got it.
Oh, you do? That's good.
All right, anything else for building report? Superintendent report.
So just want to share Kansas Teacher of the Year recognition was Sunday. Colleen Stuckey represented our district and was a nominee, and as Dr. Watson called them, all the nominees were winners because they were selected by the district to represent. Unfortunately, she wasn't recognized as a finalist, which I thought she had a good chance, honestly, with her resume, but she did not make it as finalist. But we're very proud of her for representing not just herself, but our district and our community. And she did a great job of representing us and her kids and her colleagues. And I just wish she would have selected as finalist because she was deserving, just like Mrs. Reed was, but was not. But we want to thank her for her commitment to our students and representing our district in a very high quality fashion. So anything to add, Mrs. Paul?
Yeah, I think you covered it.
Good.
It's one of a kind.
Yeah, but it was a good afternoon, good luncheon, and her parents were there, so it was cool for her to see that, them to be a part of that. So it was good. It was a good day. Activity bus, it's on the lot up there, the one we ordered 2 years ago. They have a couple things they have to do to get it finalized, but part of that is we're going to put a wrap on it to make it look like the Indian bus we currently have. I've reached out to a graphic design company that I don't know if the district used in the past, but the one Midwest recommends. I sent them our information on Monday, but I haven't heard back on a quote of what that's going to be. So Midwest wants to get it off their lot, so this might move pretty quick for them to do the graphics, but I haven't heard back from them. But I sent some samples of what we have, and so they're supposed to be sending some samples of that. So not sure when we'll get that bus, but they're ready to get it off their lot because they need to get it off there, so it might move pretty quick. But it is just, it's not a pusher bus like what we have, where the engine's in the back. Looks like the others, but it's a white bus, but it's strictly an activity bus. So that's why we can do these graphics on it, because we will use it for activities. So, but it has air conditioning in it, it has storage, and I don't know, might have tinted windows too. I can't remember all the things we did with it, but we hopefully get that finalized in the near future for the activity bus. So.
And it's as big as the Indian bus?
Yes, if not, it might be a couple seats more. Actually.
I thought it was bigger than the Indian bus for some reason.
I think it was a little bit bigger, but we should be able to fit all of them in the bus barn if we move out the little bus. So, all right, facilities board work session, again, mentioned it's so hectic in the spring trying to get everybody together to do this, and I feel like it's important that everybody is there for this conversation as a board and working with Dr. Hart's schedule. He threw out June 2nd, 6 p.m. Monday. I don't know if that's works for you. I'll email it to you. And the update on Friday, just kind of check your schedules and see what that looks like. But that's his first availability in late May or early June. That's a Monday night, so I'll put that in the update. But again, it's important that everybody's there for this conversation, and it's just difficult this time of year to try to make that happen because everybody's got stuff going on. So, but I'll put that in my update to you this Friday and just kind of see where you're at and check your schedules if you would. But that's a date that Dr. Hart threw out that he could make it based on his schedules. Budget projections, we gave you that report and the bills and updates, just where we're at. Based on those projections, getting our budget numbers, we're setting good for the remainder of the school year with our budget, with that, especially with the 57% left in those two funds. So we're looking good for spring purchasing and kind of finalizing the year and going through that. Once the governor does everything that she does, we can start looking towards 26 fiscal year and the budgeting there. Not sure their overall base funding will be fine. Special education, it's not going to be as much as we hope. They're cutting some other professional development and mentor stipends, which we don't necessarily factor into our budget, what we might have to start factoring into our budget for fiscal year 26. But depending on what the governor does there, we just kind of have to wait that out and do that. So, but we're setting good going into spring here and finalizing things for the year as it relates to the budget. So, just a reminder for those of you on the negotiating team, do your negotiations training. If you need me to send me that stuff again to go to those places, I can do that. I got to get mine done too. So just a reminder for you to do that training before we start. And typically we don't start till the governor gets done, mainly when school's out too, but to do that. So working through the negotiations module to try to hopefully do some projections of what packages could be. Going to work with the association on that. Hopefully it works and we can give them good numbers. And if they have their numbers, I can try to put them in and we can send that information to them just to work together on that. So we can see, but we're working through that. We got positions identified. So I think we got to figure out the next step so we can start building those packages and getting ready for negotiations and have some good honest numbers based on what's in payroll right now. We can do some projecting out, so. But just kind of winding down and getting ready for next school year, so. Just a reminder, if you're gonna rerun for board or anybody that's looking to be a board member, you gotta file by June 2nd. We have 3 positions open for the next go around. I don't know what areas those are in.
It will be Corey, Alex.
And Tyler?
Tyler, I think.
So, but you gotta register by June 2nd with the county to do that.
Is that information on the school website, the openings and?
I don't know if we have that sheet on there or not.
We can probably put something on the website on what area you represent.
Right, just so people will know.
Yeah. We have a nice little form, we can just do that.
And post the map maybe?
Yeah, I have it on there. I have it on the
It's on
website,
there.
but it's not easy to get to, but I can figure that out, so. But I do have that on there, the voting district, so. All right, just a reminder, for May, just a couple things, just so you get them on your calendar now before the next board meeting. High school graduation is May 11th at 2 p.m. Again, like for everyone to be there, be a part of that. You know, this is what we do, this is why we do this. So if you got a conflict, I understand, but if you can make it, that'd be great. So that's high school graduation, and then 8th grade promotion is May 19th. It's a Monday at 7 p.m. Same thing, if you could, we'd like for you to be there to show your support for those students. So just want you to get those on your calendar. And then just a reminder, end of the year luncheon will be the May 21st. That last day of school, we'll have a lunch around 12. So you all are invited, and we invite the retirees. It's kind of been a nice thing to have them back and kind of in the school year on a good positive note with that luncheon and recognizing some people that are making some changes. So, but just want you to get those on your calendar for next month.
What's the time frame for high school? I wanna know right now, or the time starting into graduation. I mean, last year was kind of competition between you two. It was never a competition.
Never.
But I usually do have a couple people, I think. Did we have 2 last year who help pass out? Do we
They
send
can figure
now?
that out. Yeah, they can
Okay,
figure
you
it out.
guys wanna just figure that out? And
Rock, paper, scissors.
I will try to get it in the right way this year.
Can we have a handrail to make sure we can get up to?
Yeah. Sorry.
Do it safe.
We'll try to make sure one of the
Yeah.
junior boys is there.
Good, I just love it.
Escort.
I forgot about that.
Usher to the chair.
Yeah. So that's my update.
All right. Any questions? No? All right, I move that we go into executive session to discuss supplemental positions, certified positions, and classified positions pursuant to the non-elected personnel exception under COMA. And the open meeting will resume in the boardroom at, we'll say 7:50, with superintendent present, please.
I second.
Linton,
Aye.
Carson,
Aye.
Eppenstall,
Aye.
Blomeyer,
Aye.
Parsons,
Aye.
Fagan,
Aye.
Tice.
Aye.
All right, we are back in open session. I'd like to make a motion to approve the resignation of Alex Cerna as high school girls basketball coach, assistant basketball coach. Tracy Watkins as the assistant middle school girls basketball coach. And approve the recommendations for John Petrie for assistant high school football coach, Rebecca Glover as assistant middle school cheer coach, and the OCES summer school teachers is Josie Garland, Nicole Bailey, and Rebecca Glover, and the high school summer school teacher as Chandra Dunbar.
Second.
Parsons.
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Carson.
Aye.
Tice.
Aye.
Fagan.
Aye.
Litton.
Aye.
Lohmeyer.
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Aye.
I'm kidding.
Just for that, we're gonna go with Tice.
Aye.
Lohmeyer.
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
Litton.
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Carson. Fagan.
Aye.
I think that's a record.